Okay, so in this tutorial I wanted to show you guys the MIDI effect rack. So just open up the browser, go into MIDI effects and drag in MIDI effect rack into the track. So basically the MIDI effect rack, I'll actually leave this open. It's like a container for other effects, so it doesn't really do anything too fancy. It just separates the effects, so you can separate them according to various things that I'll show you now. So let's just say, for example, we want to make two effects. We want to make this chord, this button here, light this row up, and then this button here, light up vertically. So basically what we can do is, let's just drag in a chord to start. And we already know if we want to make this row, we need to do 1, 2, and 3. So now we've got a chord doing this. The only problem is, if I press this, it still does the same thing. So we've got 3 icons here, which show and hide different parts of the effect rack. If I do this, it basically hides the whole thing. If I do this one, it will show the different chains. And chains basically are paths. It's like every container is called a chain. So you basically, all of your effects are contained in chains. And you can't see it now, but there's a section in the MIDI effect rack that will let you split chains according to different things. So at the moment you can see it says hide. We've also got chain, velocity, and key. And key is the most common thing. And this is basically, it lets you select which key. Right now it's selecting all keys. You can also select only 2 keys or multiple keys. And you can select just 1 key and then move that around. But the easiest way of doing this is, make sure when you're dragging, by the way, you're not dragging from the top. So like this, you need to drag the whole green part to actually have it working properly. So as you can see here, note C1 is lighting up. So we want this effect, so let's call it effect number 1. We want this, number 1, to light up only on C1. So a quick way of doing that, instead of like dragging this and scaling it in that, is just hold down the key and double click this, and then it will only work for this. And now if you see, if we click any other button, nothing happens because we don't have an effect created for them. As you can see, the only thing that goes through the MIDI comes into the effect rack, and it goes through this. So it's C1, C1 is coming in, and it goes through because it's got a chain. But now, for example, this G#4, it doesn't have, so this button here, it doesn't have a chain, so it just dies completely. So let's just go here, right click, and do create another chain. And let's hold this button down. And you can see now we've got a chain for everything, and it's just letting the notes pass normally. So let's hold this down and double click it. And now we've got it here. And let's rename this Control R if you're on Windows to 2, otherwise just right click and do rename. So this is our second effect that we want. And again, we can just drag a chord and do, we said vertical, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, and then 1, 4 again, and then 4 again. It's going to be 4, and then plus another 4, 8, plus another 4, 12. So like this, and then we've got it vertically. And why not? Just for fun, let's just add an arpeggiator so we can see it now. This one's arpeggiating, and this one's just staying still. So this is the first way you can split different chains up with the key. So according to which key or which button on the Launchpad you're pressing in this case. You can also split it, if you've got a Launchpad Pro only, you can split it according to velocity. So say number 1, we only want it to activate it when we press it like really hard. So velocity from 120 to 127. So if I press it lightly, it won't play. If I press it like, if I smash it, it will. So you can separate things like that. And then finally you can separate them by chain. And this is how Nev separates this project, by using the side notes, and I'll show you guys in the next tutorial how to do that. But just so you guys understand it, if I set this chain here and this chain here, this is like doing 2 different notes. So this is the chain selector, this blue thingy-majig. So if I set it like this, actually I'll do it like this. So number 1 is set here, and then effect number 1 is set here, and effect number 2 is set here. Oh, why is that not working? That's strange. Okay, Oh, okay, that was stupid. I just had to hold it down so the arpeggiator works. So you can see effect number 2 only works here, but if I press number 1, it's out of range because it's not here. And I can maybe show you a bit more visually if I put it here. So if I have it here, effect number 2 will play because it's here, right? It's selected on the right thing. If I put it here, none of them will play because none of them are in the right row. If I put it here, number 1 will play, but number 2 won't. So this is how you can separate things out just according to this parameter here, which then I'll show you guys how you can use it better later. So that's that. I'll now put the display to small because it's more workable. The last thing I wanted to show you guys about the MIDI effect track is this. And it's basically the macro controllers, and this is super useful when you're working with, say, arpeggiators, or I can show you even with the chord, but I'll do an arpeggiator just because you can really see why it's important. So I can click map, and then I can map any of these parameters within any of the chains to this, and you can map multiple ones too. So basically, let's have a look here. Let's map the style, so click style and then map that here. Then we can click, oh, I don't want it to be sync, I want it to be free rate. So I'll select the rate here, so that's the speed of the arpeggiator, and then I'll select the gate here. So now I can literally, if I change this here, the style here, you can see that it changes here. So let's just put it all the way up, so it's up. And now we've got this, and you can see the free rate, so the speed here, it's ridiculously fast. So let's put it something like 200 and something. And you can see the gate is also really low. So let's do that. Let's do 50%, or maybe we can do 100%. So one note turns on at a time, or 200%. So 2 notes turn on at a time. And that's how you can easily do stuff like, say for example, you do this, and so basically I duplicated this with Control D. You can also just do duplicate here, and I set it up for, so now I've got this here, okay, and here. So basically I can trigger these 2 effects from these 2 buttons, but note they're in different chains. So chain number 1 is this row, and chain number 2 is this row here. So basically, if I didn't map these things and I maybe had like multiple rows, if I wanted to change the speed, I'd literally have to go in and change the speed here, and then I'd have to go out, number 2, and then change the speed here. Whilst this, if I change the free rate here to 1 second, or 1000 milliseconds, it will change for number 2, see, but also for number 1. So if I put it back down, it will change here, but also here. And you're supposed to be looking here at the rate. So just to show you one last time, number 2 is selected, and then number 1 is selected. So that's really useful. I suggest that you map these kind of things like the speed, just so you can create your effect and then synchronize the speed to the audio later. That's how I work. So this is the basics of the effect rack. And in the next tutorial, I'll show you guys how to create kind of like a container-like Nebs project, so you can have multiple scenes, and yeah. So I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Cheers.